How y'all doing? Daniel Gaines here. I'm gonna keep this short, just a little update. Most of what I'm doing is on Facebook now. I'm doing videos, not a lot, same with here pretty much, but doing videos through live streams on Facebook. You can check them out. They're all public on my page. Any ones in the future will be as well. But real quick, interesting development. Got an email today. It's from yesterday. Was served documents through the state of Washington. So I go check it out. Court hearing coming up next week. In fact, I wasn't even given adequate time notice for the hearing, but that's something that'll be brought up in court. But Juliet's wanting to relocate to Texas. She got the criminal courts to allow her to, meaning her daddy's money got her to where she can go to Texas, but she's wanting to relocate down there. Thing of it is, she's defrauded the courts in the state of Texas, and I've got the proof. I'm already dealing with the state of Texas for all this, for other reasons, but I'm still already dealing with the courts in the state of Texas and all that jazz for that fraud that she's committed in the state of Texas. Her moving to Texas is likely going to cost her, because Texas is still bad, all the states are, but Texas is not as protective of mothers who violate the law as the state of Washington is. She'd actually have better luck avoiding criminal prosecution in the state of Washington than she's going to in Texas. So, yeah, I'll wait till she moves, and then things will be filed not only in Washington, but in Texas, because things are still in the process in Washington. I'm just waiting on what I need for the next steps, and that should be any day, in the next few days, business days, waiting on the mail. We all know how that can go. But yeah, she's actually about to screw herself by moving to Texas, a state that's not as mother friendly. I mean, they're still mother friendly, but not like the state of Washington. And she's actually gonna fuck herself when she does, because Texas will hold her to account for the fraud that she's committed against that state. Texas doesn't like to be made fools like the state of Washington does. Not as liberal down in Texas. Not as many people in Texas that want to see the country fail like in the state of Washington. It's not political, it's just fact. Why else would states heavily target men and try to cripple them? Men are the known defenders, protectors. Why would you remove them? Oh, that's right. More vulnerability, easier prey. See, DCYF, they engage in child sex trafficking. They kidnap children. And it's all been proven. But yet they're still allowed to operate, because they're protected by the states. Washington, y'all are going to learn. Y'all are going to be one of the first states that are going to learn what happens when somebody removes your immunity that you've given that state contracted business, and they go after you and that business for y'all's crimes. Juliet, she's fixing to learn real hard. She's really not above the law like she thinks, because things are going to get thrown out for fraud. Things are going to get thrown out for perjury. I'll leave it as simple as that for now, but that's going to be the reality and the facts here real soon, within the next few months, hopefully, provided the courts don't slow walk shit. But I've also already got things in place to ensure that she can't, her attorneys can't, nor can the courts, to an extent. I've also already got it to where I don't need to know where she's at to serve documents. I've got ways to serve. A few, in fact. All legal. All the courts must allow and accept. Perks of knowing the laws, perks of knowing your rights, perks of knowing the federal statutes and such like that. This is the beauty of dealing with multiple states. Then state law really is irrelevant and moot for the most part. So when you're dealing with residents in multiple states, it can actually be beneficial, because then the federal laws hold more weight, more authority. They do anyway, but it's harder for the courts to ignore them. At least not without opening the door for possible repercussions. But again, Juliet's setting herself up. And I already knew she was bailing the state of Washington. It was only a matter of time. And she won't be in Texas long before she bails there. She won't notify anybody. She'll just fucking disappear. Watch, mark my words. It's the way it always works. Always happens this way. So, the 21st is the next court hearing. I'll live stream it, like I have the last few. And I'll continue to do so. If I fuck what anybody thinks, I don't care. They can all kiss my ass. I'm not going to stop. It's my protected right to do this. And well, my rights are going to be upheld. Plus, I have a court order that says I'm allowed to anyway, which I've already made public. You know, the one that they keep saying doesn't exist, that I've shown that actually does exist. Like I said, see, everything I've said so far can be proven, or has been. Not a single claim the other side, any of them, including my daughter, has made, can be proven or substantiated. None of it's true. It's all bullshit lies. And unfortunately, my daughter has no choice but to lie, because she's been lied to repeatedly. And it's going to come out. We'll see what happens from there. But at least I'll know that people were held accountable. Even if that means I got to go as extreme as to push this all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States, I will. Even if that means I have to go as far as to release these judges' fucking home addresses publicly and set up protests outside their home. You know, exercising our civic duty. You know, the same civic duty we have to remove corrupt officials from office. That includes judges, city officials, federal governmental officials. If you read the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution, we actually have a duty to remove them from office. And it states by any means. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's time public executions need to make a comeback. Start with the judiciary. They're the ones that allow the criminal conduct to take place. They're the ones who allow the violations of our constitutionally protected rights. They're the ones who have decided the Constitution only applies when it's convenient for them. So maybe that's where we need to start with the public executions. Maybe they do need to make a comeback. Who knows? I mean, they say history repeats itself, right? 1776 sure needs to hurry up and repeat. Wouldn't y'all agree? Look at the state of things. Can't have it both ways. We either got a constitution or we don't. We're either going to uphold it or we're not. Make your move. Let us know. There's plenty of people who are very interested to know which way you're going to choose, because it literally is our lives. Keep in mind, parental rights is a liberty interest. Liberty as used in the life, liberty, and property clause of the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. Specifically the Bill of Rights. But it says we are free in life, liberty, and property. Not pursuit of happiness like people claim. It's life, liberty, and property. Parental rights, whereas it is a liberty interest, the Supreme Court has also said it's also a property interest. Because your children, the Supreme Court says, are your property. And in a sense, that means that you are the provider, you are the caregiver, you are the final authority over your children, is what it means when they say property as far as children go. Since people want to get fake salty about that, because they're either lied to or just want to find reasons to complain. And yeah, I'm well aware of what I just said. Trust me, I know. And so do you. That little part was directed to a specific individual. But I digress. Now, see, these courts are going to learn, because my legal actions are still going to proceed. And I'm not above putting their names and addresses and everything public. I'm not above putting out what their grown children do, what their young children do, where they work, where they attend school. I'm not above all this, because I'll play just as fucking dirty as these fucks want to play. Only I'm an asshole, and I gladly admit it. Granted, you've got to push to see the asshole in me. Generally, I'm a very laid back, happy, and respectful person. But when you push and you disrespect repeatedly, I don't owe you shit. I don't owe you any type of protection. I don't owe you any type of courtesy. I don't owe you any type of respect. I don't owe you any type of anything anymore. Now, I never advocate harm or violence. Doesn't solve much. I mean, in every society, there is a time and place for everything, but violence doesn't ever solve anything. It just creates more violence and more chaos. However, again, things are being forced upon people. Nobody wants to deal with this. Nobody wants to have their children taken from them for no reason, without any evidence, without any proof, and with legit false claims and fraud. Shouldn't happen, but yet here we are. And people think that this is an isolated incident, or, you know, you have people that want to talk shit about how, oh, well, the courts did it, there must be a reason, you just don't want to pay child support. I don't pay child support now. I'm $70,000 behind on child support, and I fucking brag about it. I'm on record with the courts telling them they can officially kiss my ass. I'm not paying shit. And that's still my statement. On the record, kiss my ass. I'm not paying shit. That's why I don't work. I'm a deadbeat, sure. But what they won't tell you is, the first few years that I had my kid taken from me, fraudulently and illegally, I paid child support. And I can prove it. Now, times I was laid off work, I can't help that. Wasn't often. It was actually only a couple months a year during the slow months, if even that long. Union job and everything. Again, I can prove all this. Child support records, everything else. I can show this. Over 30 grand paid in. But then it got to the point to where I wouldn't let my daughter be adopted by Brett Bussell. Juliet's the first guy Juliet married after we divorced. And whenever I wouldn't sign away my parental rights to let him adopt, Juliet told me, either sign your rights away so he can adopt, or you won't see her anymore. And when I wouldn't, she made good on her promise. And then after about a year of that, or more, probably longer actually, if I think about it, that's when I finally said, fuck it. I ain't paying shit. And I ain't paid since, really. Nor will I. They can kiss my ass. And that's my official stand. So if you want to call me a deadbeat, go ahead. But what do you call a woman who intentionally commits fraud to lie to the courts to keep their kid from their child simply out of spite and jealousy? What do you call that? What do you call a parent guilty of child abuse by engaging in parental alienation and malicious parent syndrome and denying their child their child's right to have their other parent in their life? What do you call an abusive mother like that? I mean, I'm a deadbeat, sure. But what do you call her? A good mom? Nah, A good mom wouldn't have got her daughter wrapped up in criminal fucking charges for attempted kidnapping at that. A good mother wouldn't have her daughter bouncing from state to state. More than 25 moves in 17 years of life, I can prove. She's not military. Again, not a good mother. I can also prove she's guilty of parental alienation, perjury, and all kinds of other mental issues, and has passed those on to our daughter through imitation, really, because it's all Faith ever knew. So I can prove all this. I have the proof of all this. So what do you call that? I'm a deadbeat, and I wear that title. I wear that title with pride, because y'all got it twisted. If y'all knew the facts, I wouldn't be the deadbeat. But of course, people are going to talk shit, because women can lie, and that's to be believed. But when a guy has proof, oh no, he just salty. He just don't want to pay child support. Y'all just full of shit. Not everybody thinks that way. I know this. There are some people who actually are fair-minded. Quite a bit, actually. But there's also those people who aren't. And that's more so who that's directed to. But it still comes back to, I'm a deadbeat, but what do you call her? Because good and mother cannot go in the same sentence with Juliet Leilani Parker. Maiden name Juliet Leilani Noel. Good and mother cannot go together. Unless it's she said goodbye to her mother or something like that. That's the only way you can put them two words in a sentence. Abusive, manipulative, criminal. That's a good way to describe her. Fair. And I can prove it. Another thing I find funny. All these fucks know where I live. Juliet's daddy, Juliet, all these attorneys, Skip, his family, all these motherfuckers I've called out and called liars. Told them I was going to sue them for falsifying court documents and everything else. I said it on video. And those videos are public. I can't deny saying it. Why is it I've gotten no documents served? No cease and desist, no slander or defamation, legal documents, no nothing. Why? Robert's family's got money. Skip, his family's got money. Juliet's daddy makes a 7-8 figure salary annually. He's got money. A lot of money. So does his doctor brother. These attorneys, they've got the means. Why is it? Crickets on my end. Why are none of these people coming at me claiming I'm lying when I'm putting this shit publicly? Dr. James Meredith Noel, retired colonel from the U.S. Army, lives in San Antonio, Texas. He's a doctor. This shit can cause him issues in his career, especially whenever I do send, and I'm going to, whenever I do send the documents to the American Medical Association proving he intentionally and maliciously perjured himself and submitted falsified documents to a court, which is a criminal offense, perjury and the falsification of the documents. But when I send this to the American Medical Association, it might not, but it has the potential to get him in trouble there. So you'd think with me making these allegations, Juliet and Faith are both watching my videos. The attorneys are watching my videos, which means Juliet's daddy's aware, Skip's family's aware, because they kidnapped the fucking Juliet's son and flew him off to Texas and never returned him to the state, even though the state issued a fucking order saying they had to. Juliet didn't get in any trouble for that. Kidnapping her own child, who was awarded a state, and the state drops it. So yeah, somebody's money's involved there. Daddy. But anyway, yeah. Why ain't there any actions against me? Bring your actions. Come on. Take me to court for lying about y'all. Please. I beg you. Don't worry. You'll have your day in court soon enough. only it won't be you bringing me to court. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.